Have you ever wondered that the most valuable knowledge in your life haven't come from your textbooks, nor does it have anything to do with the exams you write? It doesn't have to do anything with the gadgets you hold in your hand or the endless scrolling you do of the content in them. But in fact, they come from very unexpected quarters. They come from the stories you had heard long time ago, thinking they were fun. Folk tales are just that. They are timeless wisdom wrapped in entertainment. One of the folk tales that has stayed with me and has been my life's motive is the story of a cow who kept her promise to a tiger. Yes, a tiger. This is the story of Punyakoti of Karnataka. Punyakoti used to live in a village near a lush green forest of Karnataka. Every day with her friends, Kamdhenu, Bhumi Devi, Ganga, and Gauri, she used to go grazing in the forest and have nice fresh grasses. One day, while Punyakoti was grazing in this beautiful forest, a shadow fell on her path. It was Arbhuta, the ravenous, ferocious tiger of the jungle. Punyakoti was stunned, but she did not panic, but gathering her composure, she said, "O king of the forest, I know I'll be the meal of your day. But before that, can I just go home and feed my hungry calf? She has been hungry since the whole day." Arbhuta hadn't seen this kind of courage in the face of danger. Seeing her courage, Arbhuta said, "Okay, you may go, but please come back promptly." Punyakoti ran to her village, fed her cow. The cow, little one, said, "Oh mother, should you go, leaving me alone in this whole world?" Punyakoti said, "Truthfulness is the motive of my life. I cannot deceive anyone, even if it's my adversary." Saying this, she went back to the forest and stood before the den of the tiger. Arbhuta came out of his den and he could not believe what he saw. He saw the most strongest inner power in the most feeblest of being. His eyes welled up. He said, "Oh Punyakoti, please go back to your calf. The soul of the jungle will not forgive me if I eat such a noble soul." Punyakoti returned to her village and lived with her calf for happily ever after. Now, from the lush green forest of Karnataka, let's travel to the arid region of Rajasthan. Rajasthan, as you know, is filled with desert. It's endless desert. One day, once a traveler was traveling in this desert, and he was tired, he was thirsty, he was hungry, and he could see no one for a far, far distance. He said, "How I wish there was a tree here and I could rest in its shade." And out of nowhere, a tree appeared. Then he said, "How I wish there was water and some food for me to eat." And lo and behold, there was food and water for him to drink and eat. He then said, "Oh, how I wish there was somebody to massage my legs while I lay in the shadow of this tree." And a help appeared, who massaged his legs while he slept. After he slept, he had a good nap, he had a good slumber, and he woke up. So sometimes what happens is that when everything is going right in our lives, we try to have some excitement. He too thought that, "Oh, it would be so exciting to see a demon here right now." And when he wished that, immediately a demon appeared before him. He was trembling in fear. He said, "Oh, please make this demon disappear." And no sooner had he said that the demon disappeared. The traveler kept walking in his journey, being amazed by the fantastic experience he had. Now, from the arid region of Rajasthan, let's go to the snow-capped mountains of Himachal Pradesh, where a long, long time ago, a king named Udayagiri used to reign in the kingdom. He was a very ambitious king, and he had captured most of the land in and around his kingdom. One day, while chasing a deer, he came across a beautiful village which was shimmering under the sunlight. He asked his ministers, "Does this village belong to my kingdom?" The minister said, "No, sir. This is an independent village, and the people here have been living very peacefully for a long time." The king was furious. He said, "How can this beautiful village not be under my kingdom? So he waged a war against this, peaceful villagers. But the villagers, the men, women, and the children, they also resisted. They fought the king's men who were carrying arms, who were carrying swords and shields with just stick and bamboo. They resisted for a long, long time, and the king's men were also growing tired. When Udayagiri was planning the final assault on the village, an old man came to meet him. He introduced himself as the chief of that village. He said, "O king, I'm happy to relinquish my village to you, but only if you can give me the gold which amounts to the weight of this bone." The old man was carrying a bone which was half of the size of a thumb. The king laughed. He said, "It's no big deal. I can give you 10 times more you have asked, 10 times more gold that you have asked." So as they were weighing the bone in the scale and the king's men were putting gold, 1 kilo, 2 kilo, 10 kilos, the weight of the bone was still heavier than the gold that they were putting in the scale. Then the old man said, "Do you understand, king? This is the bone of desire. It's never satiated unless you know what you want." Udayagiri understood his mistake. He stopped the war immediately and said that, "Distribute this gold to the people whom I have harmed." From that day onwards, he stopped harming peaceful people. From Himachal Pradesh, now let's go to the northeastern part of India, to Nagaland, where a long time ago, a woman had 3 sons, a cosmic spirit, a man, and a tiger. When the woman grew old and she finally passed away, the sons started fighting for the belongings. The eldest, the cosmic spirit, being the eldest, said that, "I will step back. Both of you decide what you want to keep of mother's belonging." So the second, the man, and the third, the tiger, they were, fighting among each other to keep what belonged to the mother. They could not come to a conclusion. So they decided, we'll have a race. We will go and, whoever touches the pole, bamboo pole first, will live in the village, in mother's house, and the other will go to the jungle to live there forever. So this was decided. So when the race began, the man, being the more cunning and the more clever one, he shot an arrow and he knocked the pole down. The tiger, having reached the pole first, saw the pole lying in the ground. He thought the man must have reached early. So he went to the jungle to live there forever. And man stayed back in the village in the hut of his mother. The cosmic spirit saw this happening. He rebuked his brother, saying that, "Because of you, my brother has gone to the village and you have deceived him. You have been treacherous, you have been deceitful. So you will never see me again." So the spirit went to the heavens above and man could never see him again. So as you see, the tales from the length and breadth of this country have gems of wisdom. From Punya Koti, we learn that we have to live by a commitment. Whatever we have committed to, we should stand by it. From the second story, the story of the wishing tree, we learn that we become what we wish, and we should be very careful about what we wish. From the third story, the bone of desire, we learn that our desires can be very, very ambitious. It can be very, go on and on. It can be insatiable. So we should limit our desires. From the fourth story, we will learn that if you are cunning, if you are treacherous, we will be left alone in this world. We will be separated from nature, we will be separated from the divine. Have you noticed that all the stories are allegorical? The characters, the events, the objects, they stand for something larger than what they are. Have you noticed it? So folktales are mirrors. They mirror the society. They mirror the hopes and aspirations, the struggles, the anger of the society. So they are like mirrors. And if you look at the folktales, you understand the society, very quickly. They are also means of solving problems. They give you ways of solving problems. Many a times in folktales, you'll see a dragon, guarding a treasure, a river that cannot be crossed, a riddle that cannot be solved. But the hero or the heroine, they keep persisting and finally they overcome these obstacles. It's same in our lives too. Thirdly, folk tales are means of sacred knowledge. They keep some knowledge in them. You see a talking herb, or you see some very wise person, a stranger, giving you answers to your queries, giving you answers to your problems. So these are things that the folktales tell, which means that there is knowledge everywhere. You just have to be curious and you have to have the mindset to explore them. Okay, finally, let me tell you the story of the crow, which you have heard many, many times. But let me tell you in the context of your present, situation. So as you know, there was a thirsty crow who wanted to drink some water. And he was flying high in the sky, and from the sky he saw a pitcher of water, which had little water in its bottom. So he tried and tried to reach his beak in the water, but it would not rise. What he did, he saw some pebbles around him and kept putting the pebbles one by one. So this is our situation many times. The subject seems hard, the exams are overwhelming, the marks are not good enough as we expected, but like the crow, we should learn to think out of the box. Success don't come easy, they don't come fast, but it comes only when you're patient. So when you're stuck somewhere, when life is difficult, just remember the crow. Keep putting your extra hour, keep asking that question, keep giving your effort. These are your pebbles. And one day, the water of success will rise. With this, I thank you for listening to me. Thank you.